What's up, guys? This is Heis, and yes, you read the title correct. We are back at Railroads Online. I know a lot of you people have asked and commented and wondered, will Heis ever come back to Railroads Online? Will he ever play the game again? And, I didn't know if I was going to or not, but after reading Little Engines Big Men, feeling what I was feeling towards the early days of the DNRG, and then, of course, missing hanging out with my buddy kAN, I felt like it was time to get back into the game. So kAN and I are starting our own railroad together, and we're going to have a fun time playing through Railroads Online once again, this time with all the new updates. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. Let's get kAN going here.
What's up, guys? My name is kAN, and we're back today with some Railroads Online. I'm joined by my buddy Heis. How's it going, Heis?
Dude, it is awesome. It is so good to be back. It's been way too long since we've done anything. I'm so excited.
We haven't played much in a while, and there's been new updates. There's new splines and stuff, and I personally was waiting until there were all these new updates out, and then I got bombarded with comments of people saying, listen, a bunch of the updates are out. There's some new locomotives and stuff, so we got to play it. And I figured since we're starting fresh, it would be nice to have a real train expert, join in, and we could do some co-op, make this world really exciting really fast, right? So
yeah, I'm really, really excited to help contribute with the real railroad madness and all that sort of fun stuff.
And the good news is I heard the splines now, they sort of automatically, they automatically kind of align themselves and curve themselves, so we won't have to worry about Heis's absolutely god-awful railroad placement.
I have been told by the users of my Discord that you have to try maliciously to make bad track.
Yeah.
And
there's also a lot of new like I have a piece of track out right now, like Ghosted, and I'm looking at the construction menu, and there's like circle mode. I don't even know what that means, and like...
Yeah, it's way different than I last played, that's for sure. I haven't played in a long time. I've been busy doing real railroad things. I got the gig at the museum, yeah.
Yeah, check out Heis's channel. He works at the Colorado Railroad Museum running real steam locos, so that's kind of amazing.
Yeah, I was actually literally working on Denver and Rio Grande Western 491 today. We were actually fixing something on it for it to run. It's actually running right now as we're recording. Fun fact, but... Anyways.
Okay, there's the incline. Okay, can I still only go up to 10%? Only 10%. Okay.
Well, so, no crazy roller coaster shenanigans, I suppose.
I mean, there's probably someone who's figured out a way to... Why won't this let me place this? Is it because the groundwork is not touching the ground anymore? Is that a thing?
I don't know, because this is definitely going to be a learning curve for both of us.
Oh, yeah, it is. The groundwork has to be touching the ground, or else it won't let you place it.
Oh, so hence the three different depths of groundwork.
Groundwork, yeah.
Interesting.
This is cool. Let's just leave it like this. This will be the
That's a good ramp. Make sure we never buy more than 4 things at a time. Sold.
Yeah. You'll never get it off that extra time. All right, so today we're gonna go to the logging camp. Obviously, first thing you got to do in this game, pretty much standard. Go to the logging. Oh yeah, or chop down trees.
Well,
you're chopping down two
for the price of one. That's kind of exciting. It's very, very fall and festive. But yeah, start with the logging camp, get the logs, and go from there. Right? That's always been the mantra.
I guess Heis is going to work on laying out the track all the way to the logging camp. This should actually be a lot quicker than it was before, because you can do track and groundwork all at the same time. And
longer pieces, right? Because originally last time, it was just 10 meters of track at a time, and you had to click 1,000,000 times. But now I think, if my memory is serving correctly, I think you could do up to 500 meters at a time.
Per spline.
Per spline, yeah. So it should be...
I'm just excited for the game performance, honestly. Like, it should be...
Yeah,
you know what? I'm really excited to make mountain passes where we curve up the mountains, because making curved tracks that looked really good was always a problem, and now with the auto smoothing, like it should be pretty good.
I'm pretty excited for that too. That's definitely like my favorite feeling about this game was always building those big mountain passes. Like you feel like a little narrow gauge railroad back in the 1800s.
Yeah.
And doing that, very hard.
Yeah, for this playthrough, I feel like we need to do all the ridiculous things. Like before, I kind of took all the intended routes that were long and like drawn out and stuff. But for this, I feel like we need to build like freight depots straight over the mountain to the iron mine, some crazy stuff like that.
Sometimes you need a little bit of the Uinta Railways madness in your life.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think that's what we're gonna have to do. But anyway, that's all future plans, future episodes. That's like way down the line here.
Yeah, this is going to be a whole series, hopefully, and hopefully folks enjoy it. I know that I, too, have gotten a million comments about people asking if I'm ever going to play Railroads Online again, if I'm going to do it, or if I'm going to experience the new engines and all that fun stuff. And I got to say, for me, the inspiration to come back was I just read this great book that's about the original locomotives from the Denver and Rio Grande and the original engineers from the 1800s. Including like the Montezuma, which is a new engine that's in the game, was the first engine that railroad had. The very first one that they bought, brand new.
I guess I should look through the locomotives list.
Yeah, so it's named Montezuma. That engine was the first engine for this railroad, and just having that and the feeling of narrow gauge railroading and the excitement of building the alignment, I don't know, it inspired me to come play, and I'm glad that we're here.
So, hold on a minute. We got flat car. We got all the cars. They've reskinned all the cars, which is kind of cool. The oil cars. I personally like the reskins better rather than the bright red. I think the wood.
They look a lot nicer. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks more authentic. But they have this thing after the bobber caboose. They have a DSP and P way car.
Yes, that is a Denver, South Park, and Pacific Railroad way car, which is a fancy word for we wanted to be fancy and not call it a caboose.
But it doesn't. So it doesn't have. It's basically a caboose without the observation.
It doesn't have the cupola. Yes, the cupola is the little thing on top, the observation area. And the Denver, South Park, and Pacific, when they originally built their way cars, did not have those. And later they actually got added, and one of those way cars still exists, and it's at my museum. The CNS 1009 is what it is known as these days. It's actually in the shop getting some work.
So basically, it's just a brake car.
It's just a brake car. It's where your end of train crew would hang out. Back in this era, you'd have at least 5 men train crews: engineer, fireman, 2 brakemen, and a conductor. Right. And your conductor and rear brakeman would hang out in the caboose, and everyone else would be up by the engine.
All right. So since we're playing co-op and multiplayer, if we're not running 2 trains simultaneously, I feel like we need to run. Like, we're playing on realistic physics, so I feel like we need to run long trains and have proper brakemen, make some real aggressive mountain routes that require brakemen, and then actually, act like brakemen. You know what I mean? I feel like that would just be...
That's the way to do it. That is the way that the railroad would have done it. And they would have had, if we're going to run long trains, they would have had 2 or 3, so perhaps we'll have to grab some other familiar faces and really do this thing once the railroad gets underway.
Yeah, but we'll have to do some weight calculations. I don't know if those have changed at all or not compared to what they were.
Well, so I think that with the reskinning of the cars are slightly different prototypes, some of them. So I think they are a little bit different weight, so it's not going to be just as it was before, but the principle will be the same. The tractive effort that the locomotive can produce. You know how much the cars and the cargo weighs, and then you do the math.
Dude, I'm already in love with the new splines. I've placed like 3 switches and screwed all of them up. I'm trying to just figure out how I want to do this, but I already love the new splines. This is so amazing.
Yeah.
The fact that they're grid placed now as well, and the fact that they just feel good. It's hard to explain. Yeah.
Last I played, the splines were just coming into the beta, and it seemed really, really promising. So I'm excited to see how the trains interact with the new splines. I haven't really seen it. I haven't watched too many videos. I've been really busy with the real trains.
I played when the spline beta first came out. I played it once for a video, but I was kind of disappointed because all you could do at the time was just like set up a track, and like things like the engine firebox didn't even work and stuff like that. So you're really just sort of not really doing too much. And I was like, well, this is kind of disappointing. So I waited and waited until, and now everyone was like, oh man, the splines they're actually out and they're perfect. So get on that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how it all works out, because this game really does something that no other game does, and it really gets the feel of railroading in that era. It gets it pretty well, and it's one of my favorite games. So I'm happy we're here playing.
Okay, Dude, unbelievable. I just linked a track that was like 100 meters long, and like from a switch to a straight piece, and it just perfectly made a perfect curve.
That's awesome.
It's so good.
So like you're telling me I have a chance. I have a chance at this.
Track. Maybe. It might be. Yeah, just setting up these initial switches, I like extended straight out from the middle line and then just got to a point where I'm like, I'll make my switch branch off here, and it just looks so smooth without any effort. It's unbelievable.
Well, I'm excited because that means, smooth track means we'll be able to send it and run these things hard and see if we can really run tonnage,
Anymore. That's right.
Yeah. I don't know how fast the trains go now.
That's true. It's going to be purely based on our weight that we're pulling on them then, right? Like it should be...
Yeah, exactly. Because the principle behind a steam locomotive and the way that it works, a lot of people say that they can pull trains that they can't start. I.e., once you get the reciprocating mass and rotating mass of the pistons and the wheels moving, it's very hard to get the steam engine to stop. It wants to keep pulling, but getting it rolling can be challenging sometimes.
How does that work in real life? So in a car, right? Because a lot of people are like, why does your car always spin in one direction? Like, why does the engine in a car not spin backwards? And the answer is really simple. A car has a big flywheel, which is like a big weight, and it uses an electric starter motor to push that weight in one direction, and momentum keeps it going in the same direction. But how do you do that on a steam locomotive? Because you've got weight on the wheels, which I'm assuming is what they use as like the momentum carrier. Like they don't have a flywheel on a steam engine, right? So how does it force the rotation in the starting direction every time?
Well, so that there's two sets of pistons basically. When you look at a steam engine, there's a total of 4 pistons, 2 that supply power and 2 that help control when the power fires. You have basically what is like a steam overhead camshaft equivalent in what's called the valve, and that determines when the steam is admitted to the actual piston that provides the power. And then there's 2 pistons, one on each side on most locomotives, and they're offset at a 90-degree rotation on the wheel set. The wheel sets of a steam locomotive are much like the crankshaft on your standard internal combustion engine. And so your wheels are your crank, and your wheels are your weight, and the wheels are counterweighted. And so you have the Johnson bar in the cab, commonly known as the reverser by a lot of people around the world, and that allows you to pick which side of the piston the steam is going to be admitted to based on the boundary conditions of all of the different rods that make up the valve gear.
Okay, so I kind of understand what you're talking about.
I've got a great hour-long video called Steam 101 on the channel that really dives into that with visual aids.
Give me the link for that one, because I understand what you're talking about, but I feel like without visuals, it's going to be very hard.
You need the visuals of that stuff, yeah. So definitely recommend you check that video out. Wink, wink.
Yeah, for me. Steam locomotives have always been fascinating, just because they're pure mechanics. They're pure mechanical systems. There's no software that gives you any sort of assistance. There's no electronic stuff that lets you, cheat the system. Let's say it's like it's either going to work or it's not, like every other mechanical system. And if it doesn't, well, you're screwed.
Yep, that's exactly the truth with these things. And my favorite thing about them is that they don't hide anything. They show you everything. You see the engine, you see the rods, you see the wheels, you see how it works. It's not like a car or a diesel locomotive where everything's tucked in and hidden away from everything. All of the mechanics are in view, and you can see the madness of the machinery that really makes a steam locomotive come to life. And you're definitely right. You would be surprised at how precise some of that stuff has to be on these locomotives.
Oh, absolutely.
We were just recently doing some repair work on one of our steam engines that operates at the museum, the Rio Grande Southern number 20. And 20, back in her day, working for the Rio Grande Southern, was just absolutely beat to death. It was the railroad's favorite engine. It was the one that always ran, and it always ran until they parked it. And then when they donated it to the museum in the early 1950s, someone from the railroad came to the museum and said, "Never fire this engine up." And it's like, okay, that's okay. And so, lots of dollars later, it got restored and everything. But there was a couple old wounds from the railroad that the railroad had fixed, and they were deemed safe repairs and everything. But, you put some miles on something and things fail.
It's like when the narrator comes in, but they were not safe repairs.
But they were not safe repairs. And it wasn't that they weren't safe, but, some steam started to leak out of the engine, and we had to take a bunch of stuff apart. And we had to machine a bunch of custom parts because everything had to be custom fit, and everything had to be within a 32nd of an inch over distances of like 3 or 4 feet.
Right.
So you're talking about some extreme precision for a locomotive that was built in 1899.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
So it's kind of insane what goes into making a steam locomotive work.
But
I love
these
it.
old steam locomotives, when they were built, they would have been like cast iron and then hand assembled, like hand built after that, hand machined and all that stuff, right? There wouldn't have been any sort of high levels of automation with this stuff.
Precisely. I mean, everything was made by hand. What wasn't cast was probably forged. Like the rods were usually drop forged on a giant scary hammer that would have, maimed anyone who didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, most everything early on was cast iron or rolled iron or steel, depending on. What the oldest engine we actually have at the museum was built in 1880, and everyone always says, "Why don't you make that one run? It looks so good. It looks so cool." Well, that's the point of restoration,
it was built
folks.
in 1880, guys. I don't know what the.
Yeah. So the boiler was made out of wrought steel, and the way that they made wrought steel introduces a lot of air pockets amongst the grain structure of the steel. And it's a pressure vessel, so it means that if you suddenly wear through to an air pocket, you could suddenly blow the locomotive up at the drop of a hat, which is not good. So that's why it doesn't run. I'm getting lost in the woods. They're unfamiliar to me, being that I think these are all aspen trees these days for the fall variety. It's kind of I do like that touch that the seasons come out. It's kind of neat to get the different foliage and everything.
I kind of wish they had like pine trees in the mountains.
Yeah, the mix would be cool. The mix would be really
like,
cool.
The deciduous trees down on the ground and so on and so forth, right? Like,
well, the aspens. I mean, if this is trying to be Colorado, which a lot of the locomotives are of that locale, at least that are in the game so far, the aspens are kind of mixed in, spritzed throughout compared to the pines. It's really, really pretty around here in this time of year. The amount of colors you get in the fall colors with the aspens turning gold amongst all the pines is like, it's really, really beautiful.
I can't remember how I did this switch trick, so...
Well, then it's been done once, and there it is, ladies and gents.
Well, remember I used to make like perfectly straight shunt yards. Like I came in and I was like, guys, like everyone was like, 3-foot rail doesn't have to be perfect, and I'm like, no, it has to.
It has to be. If it can be, it will.
Right. So I used to do like a switch trick to make all my lines perfect. I think it's only on the far end that I needed a switch trick to realign them, I think.
Can you still use the diamond crossover? Because I know that was like the big tip was you could use
you gotta use it to
multiple diamonds, yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember how I did it though. Don't worry, we'll figure it out. We'll get there.
We will learn these tools. And just like last time, I will not master them, but kAN probably will. So
I remember it was a stupid combination. You had to do like switch, no switch, flip the switch, do 108. Like it was some weird voodoo magic just to get the switches on the far end of your shunt lanes to line back up with the rail because the angles aren't perfect.
Interesting.
So the switches on the close lane you just build out, done, right? Like easy. And then but on the far lane you got to do some voodoo magic. This is wicked though. Being able to place like a piece of track like the whole distance of the shunt lane in one stretch and have it stay perfectly straight the whole time is just insane.
That is pretty freaking magical.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Like, I remember my first track to the logging camp took like Dapper and myself 7 hours to lay out, and this is like 2 minutes.
This is nothing. I'm done cutting down trees. I'm at the logging camp, and I'm gonna place my first stretch of rail here.
Perfect.
And yeah, that's way too easy. And the procedural ties do look really good. I really enjoy.
And the fact that they're built into the groundwork. You don't have like sometimes you have the weird ties that stick out from the groundwork, and then you have to go fix all the groundwork and the seams. Oh my god, the groundwork seams.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't.
It looks so much nicer. Yeah. It was really weird previously because you'd just lay your track, on top of the groundwork, and then some people would sink the groundwork in by like doing another pass. And
right.
I could hardly stand to make the first pass of the railroad because I was bad at it.
Yeah, let alone the second pass.
Right. So I never did that, and it always looked weird to me because the whole principle of having the groundwork and then the ballast is so that you can hold the track in place. If you don't have ballast and you try to run a train with ties just laid on ground, you're gonna have a bad time. I mean, you should see what a locomotive will do to the rail when it wants to move it. It is terrifying.
What about all these, like I see all these rails built in cities, especially in like Japan and stuff.
Yeah.
And they use like the concrete ballast that's actually tied into like bolted in. Does that?
It's called
ballast needs to move, doesn't it?
It's called direct fixation track rather than ballasted track when you do that. And I have a little experience dealing with it from my time working for a light rail commuter agency. We built a bunch of light rail extensions around my old hometown. But yeah, so the way that it works is that, you know, the track is anchored, and it's actually rigidly anchored with those special clips at each of those locations, so that there's no degrees of freedom at each one of those clips. The clip doesn't just hold it straight down. It prevents it from moving left, right, up, down, or rotating in any direction with the way that they're designed.
But as the train comes by, I mean, stuff likes to move. How does it handle the fact that the train...
Super, super heavy-duty rail and lots of clips and gently...
It's just rigid. It's just rigid.
It's just rigid as heck. And then it is designed in mind so that, you know, you never get excessive lateral or vertical forces on the alignment. You have gradual curves, both vertically and horizontally, to make sure that you're not overstressing that very rigid structure.
That's crazy.
It is kind of insane, isn't it?
Also, thing I just found out, which is unbelievable, blows my mind. They changed the switch dimensions.
Really?
You don't have to do the weird switch trick. I just line up switches on one side, I line up switches on the other side, boom, done. That's it.
Oh my goodness. That
and
is...
all the lines of the switches. Because it used to be like they'd be offset by like half an inch or whatever, and then you'd have to redo all this weird jigging and stuff. But no, I literally just took a switch all on one side, flipped it around on the other side, laid it out, boom, done. That's it.
That is some of the best quality of life I've heard of.
Yeah, no kidding. You can just poop out a shunt yard in 10 minutes now without even any sort of weird voodoo magic to get it to work.
All right. Remember when they were saying it's really hard to lay like bad track?
Did you already do it?
I'm already really good at this game, guys. I'm not a civil engineer. This is a kink. This is what we define in the industry as a kink.
We're gonna be
not
going
a curve.
faster too, so your kinks are gonna be worse. You gotta smooth that out.
I will relay this just so that you can watch my video and you can see the sadness that I created, okay?
Meanwhile, here I am. I've already got a 4-lane bow yard set up outside the freight depot.
Well, I had lots of trees to cut down, man, okay? Do you understand? The entire map is forest.
Dude, this is unbelievable how I'm blown away with how easily you can make parallel shunt lanes now.
Yeah, this is...
We're gonna shunt everything, bro. We're gonna have a shunt lane in every place. Lumber mill, shunt lane. Logging camp, shunt lane. What do you everywhere? We need shunt lanes galore. We need like 6,000 shunt yards. You know what I mean? Like, this is awesome.
Well, dude, that's pretty prototypical because, you know, you gotta have a place to store your equipment and you gotta have stuff, you know, places to get stuff out of the way when it breaks. So I mean, pretty much every industry would have it.
That was my biggest problem with my last playthrough, is that like the logging camp, I didn't have any shunt lanes. So if I came in with a second train, you're screwed. You got one track and you blocked it up. So
we are stacked in. Yeah.
Yeah. Now the $1 million question is, how do curves work in this game?
So I've just been placing them freehand with the 10-degree snap-on, and it's going okay, but I did make that kink. Apparently, circle mode is where you can lock the track to a perfect circle of your specification. If you check circle mode on, and that's probably the smart move out there. I like freehanding because, you know, I have problems.
Oh, yeah,
so
it does
you know,
move. If you give it a radius, so alignment 270, yeah, the starting alignment's 270. Circle mode on. Edit curve radius, edit gradient. So if I edit the curve radius, oh, it's not by degrees anymore. It's by the total curve radius.
Oh, interesting.
So it's like it defaults to 1,000 meters, so 1 kilometer curve radius.
That is unheard of on the narrow gauge. Just saying.
And then it tells, 1,000 meters. It's like barely any. And then it tells you the length of the member that you're placing, but it doesn't matter because it constantly adjusts the curve. So, okay, so what would be a normal, like, shunt yard? Because you said last time it was like 30 degrees is too much, right?
Yeah, so like a true 30-degree curve is really sharp, and that's for later on the narrow gauge. Like my big engine that we were working on today, 491, has a maximum of 30 degree. Anything past 30 degree, and she starts to get mad.
Right.
But these littler engines can do, more than that. But 30 is definitely an amenable goal.
But this is like the big shunt yard area, so it's a question of, like, if I do a 300-meter radius turn.
300 meters. I have a chart somewhere. Let me.
I know. I need to work out the math now.
Let me grab my chart. Hang on. I'm saving you. I'm saving you from the math. I'm sending you a thing. This is.
Do you have a sheet for
I
it?
have a sheet. This is degree to feet and meters. So.
Oh God, you're a lifesaver.
So yeah. So a 30 is a 59-ish meter radius.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna download this and throw this up on the screen.
Yeah, that's definitely a super helpful asset. Definitely.
Meters, yeah. Okay, so if I go with a 100-meter radius, we're gonna be somewhere around 17 and a half, 18 degrees.
That's plenty. That is great
for like any engine. That should be plenty.
Any engine will do that. I mean, even a lot of standard gauge engines would do that. So.
Right. Even if I put it at like 200-meter radius, it's gonna be or like 150. That's still huge.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I'm gonna go with 150 then. Just give us lots of buffers. Okay, does it? Oh my God, I think you placed the whole circle as one piece. Oh,
really?
Lord. I went to click a second piece and it just placed it. So I guess I'm supposed to just place it as one massive.
Oh wow. The whole circular portion of the curve?
I think so. Is that right?
I don't know. I'm going to have to mess with it on my end too. But I'm still trying to spiral my way down to the mountain and get back to where I've cut trees. I'm trying to keep the grade as light as I can because I know you can keep a really light grade to the logging camp from the last time I played, so I'm keeping it to minus 0.5%.
I'm going with a 100-meter radius because once I laid out 150, I realized it's actually massive. Like it's.
Yeah, it's funny how big things get when you're talking about trains.
Well, and it's a radius too, so
right.
It's from the center point to the outside, not even like.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I'm literally just stretching this whole curve throughout the whole. This is unbelievably cool.
Yeah, so you should be able to like really tailor fit it so that it. You can change the radius to what you think it's going to work and then, make sure it actually works.
Well, I think I've reached the max length of that one spline, so... But it doesn't matter. You can just click on the next, from the curve, and it just continues. You remember when we were doing it before? You'd have those little straight sections in your curve, which is where you were, linking track up.
Right, yeah.
And now I just don't have that anymore, so...
The quality of life has really improved. I'm really pleased with all this stuff. And we still can send trees to space. Thank goodness for that.
We're going to have a real problem here.
When you see the alignment that I'm building? Yeah, probably.
Well, that too. I'm just trying to think of how to make I'm going to have to make this curve go out and then come back. It's too tight.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
I'm going to run into the mountains before I actually, you know what I mean?
Gotcha. Yeah, you have to do a curve and a reverse curve. If we're gonna get real railroady here, real technical.
Okay, so narrow gauge railroad. If you have a spot that's too tight to turn around, then they make an engine turnaround, right? Where they'll take the steam engine off, turn it around, hook it up to the front of the cars, and then just bring it. Or they just go backwards and not care.
Yeah, you just run around the cars and run tender first if you're a tender engine, or cab first if you're a tank engine. Whatever you got to do to just make it work. And sometimes they did crazier things. There's in one of the recent videos on my channel, I talked about the book that inspired me to want to play again, and it has all these amazing stories from the narrow gauge, and I can't read them word for word because copyright and stuff. But there was a bit on the Denver South Park and Pacific, the one that has the way car in the game, where their train got stuck at the top of the hill. Top of the mountain, they got snowed in, avalanche came in ahead of them, behind them, the tunnel was blocked, and they realized that they were going to have to turn around and go back home. But because another avalanche came in behind them, they couldn't back up because they had a caboose on the end. They didn't have an engine with a snowplow. And so they just jacked up the locomotive onto the ice and oiled the track and the ice and spun the locomotive around by hand.
Across the track?
Across the track. They just picked it up, put it on ties by hand, and then spun the locomotive around so it faced the other way, and then put it on the other end of the train. and then
Can you
drove
imagine
back
trying
down.
to do that kind of thing with like modern safety regulations.
You
Like,
couldn't. You physically could not.
You'd have like 6 union guys down there being like, "Bruh, you can't.
There's
can't
just
do this."
no way. It's
you're not.
amazing the stuff that they used to do with these old machines. Just
Yeah.
this is what we got to do. Oh my god. They picked
Literally inventing the word YOLO. At the
literally,
time. Like,
literally.
they're just like, whatever. This is gonna work, I
Well,
guess.
I suppose
maybe.
the other option for them at the time was wait until a snowslide hit them and buried them and knocked them off the mountain. So I mean, I get the thought of like, okay, yeah, no, maybe we should fix this, but
Right.
insanity what they did.
Oh yeah. Well, these guys were nuts. I love that switches are symmetrical now. Oh my god, you have no idea.
That is the biggest
Oh no, they're not.
quality of life thing.
So how did it work for my shunt yard that they were symmetrical and now this doesn't
Did
line
you
up
use
this way?
the same one before or something?
I don't know. The shunt yard lines up perfect, but now I tried to do it here and it doesn't work. So
Weird. I wonder what that is. We will have to do some studying and get to the bottom of
it means
that.
I gotta remember my stupid switch trick. Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not too hard to figure out. It's been 5 or 6 months since I've really played this game.
Yeah, I think it's this to this, and then I do one of these, and then I think I have to go across this way.
Stop on your right foot, don't forget it.
Yeah, and then I think I gotta go like this, and then delete that, and then... Oh, am I gonna have to watch my own video to see the... to see the... how I did this?
I need a tutorial. Who can I call? Me.
Yeah, myself, like... Hey,
What's up, guys?
Fast God, build me the railroad, please.
What's up, guys? This is kAN.
Yeah.
We're playing Railroads Online. I have noticed the one thing that is a little strange is trying to get the link to work. There used to be way more bugs with linking, and the only thing that I'm running into is not a bug. It's just like the preview of the ballast is overlapping what I'm trying to place.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and then
I get that too.
It gets in the way. But
you're kind of like blind shooting through the ballast to get the link part.
yeah. And sometimes it's like unintuitive where you put the mouse to make it work, but you know, it really of all the problems with track laying, like that is the nittest of nitpicks.
Dude,
like this
I
is
just
so
laid an
much
S-bend,
easier.
An S-bend in one track, one spline. I
Yeah,
didn't even
you
click in
just-
the middle of the S-bend. I just go click at the start, click at the finish, and
Keeping
it naturally
the same
draws
thing.
the proper curve between them.
Yeah.
That's so
Someone
good.
did some math, and they're probably proud of it. I chose mechanical engineering because I like looking up values in tables, not because I like doing math.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. People don't. So I have the end point where I'd like you to connect at some point.
Okay. Well, I'm slowly working my way back. I still haven't really gotten down off of the hill, but I've just said, you know what? To heck with it. I'm going to just make a big fill, and we're just going down at a 0.5% down this fill,
Yeah.
being a little silly. It's you'll laugh at me. It'll be
I
fine.
have the spawning line hooked up, and then I have a 4-lane shunt line hooked up, which isn't like huge, but it'll be enough for us to.
That's a good start. Yeah.
And then I want to connect the other end of the freight depot line. The part that loops back is going to connect up to your main at some spot, which we'll figure out once you get back here.
Gotcha.
And then I just need to make the loop around the freight depot that comes back on the other side.
You know,
and somehow ends up on a parallel track.
I spent the whole beginning of this episode running through the woods cutting trees, and now that I have like laid this track back from the from the logging camp, I'm having trouble finding the path that I cut through the trees. So,
Fair.
you know, life's hard. It's okay. We'll figure it out.
We might have 2 paths through the trees, is what you're saying.
Yeah, there's definitely 2 paths. You know, one of them's more direct, and one of them has a railroad on it. So you know, you'll follow the track. You'll find it.
I do like the fact that there's a grid now. Like
The
you can
grid
place
is
stuff
nice,
on the
yeah.
270-degree grid or whatever. The only reason is because when you're trying to line up like 2 big parallel lines on opposite sides of something, then you have a grid to kind of work with.
Yeah, that's really nice. Whereas, I mean, you were just eyeballing everything before, and if you didn't have the crossover pieces, there was no guarantee that you were ever actually lined up.
Yeah, I'm not eyeballing it. I'm still building track the way I used to. I'm laying out like switches and then connecting between the switch points. You know what I'm
Old
saying?
old habits die hard because I'm laying track the way that I used to, and haphazardly and freehand. And I'm sure that my audience is probably just yelling at me like, "Come on, can't you have the power now, Heist? What are you doing?" And I'm saying, "I'm building this railroad, son."
Basically, we hired like a professional team to do the shunting area, and then we went with the lowest bidder.
Well, hey man, sometimes the lowest bidder is the ones that makes it happen. So,
Listen, I'm in Canada, okay? I live in Canada, right? And I used to work a long time ago. I worked on a bunch of government projects as an engineer, and so I had a lot of experience with dealing with the lowest bidders. And let me tell you, I don't know why we're still going with the lowest bidder. It's so bad.
It doesn't make sense at this point.
It's always bad. They're like, we're going to save money. And it's like, no, you're not.
You're going to pay more money refixing things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously. Yeah,
they will put it together in half the time for half the price, and we will fix it 5 times as often. So please tell me where the math works.
Basically. Oh, lordy. That's great.
Do you have any attachment to having lots of trees at the freight depot, or can I just go like demolish them?
Just send it, man. Just get rid of them. I do not have attachment. Trees are in the way of trains. I want my rail yard.
Like open freight depots so you can really see all your different areas where you have shunting and blah blah.
Yeah,
right?
it's nice to know what the heck you've got going on the railroad at a glance, and that can be challenging when there's trees everywhere. Oh, I have encased myself in railroad. Okay.
Nice.
But you can easily delete yourself out of it. Okay, that is a recoverable mistake. Today I learned.
Well, there's still the respawn, right? So
That's right. It used to be upon pain of death, you are not getting out from underneath this gravel pit.
Yeah.
You've entombed yourself, sir.
I am genuinely not mad to be playing this again.
I'm right there with you. You know, it was good to take the break that I did. And I think I needed it, and it was great to go, and I'm so unbelievably like thrilled and happy that I'm working at the Colorado Railroad Museum. It's really a dream of mine, so everything worked out in my favor, I think. But it is great to be playing this game again. This game is super fun. It captures that adventurous feeling of getting to go do the thing and like be a real railroader. It really does get that. And when you get into an operating session and you're running trains with guys, I've run trains with other railroaders, and I mean it just feels like you're doing the real work. You're giving car counts, you're switching, you run into the same problems. It is hilarious at even with the basic simulation that's in the game, how really, really spot on the feel is. And I just love that. I'm
just excited to honestly have some more engines. The game definitely was lacking engine diversity.
And now we've got a bunch more, I think. So they added an 060, the class 48, I think it is. They added the Montezuma, which is a 240, which is supposed to be super quick, and the Rio Grande's first engine. And then they added the Glenbrook, which is a pretty hefty 260 Mogul. They added a T-boiler.
For those who don't know, because I learned some things. Okay?
Right.
The numbers, right, is front wheels, drive wheels, like leading wheels, drive wheels, trailing wheels.
Correct.
Not including tenders.
Correct, yeah. The wheel sets, or the wheels themselves on the locomotive. So 260 has 2 lead wheels. It has 6 driving wheels, and it does not have any wheels behind the driving wheels supporting the weight of the firebox.
And if you had like a 2440, that would be 2 sets of 4 drive wheels with no trailing 2 leaders.
Yeah, when you get 4, you start to get into duplex or articulated locomotives where they've got more than one engine, which is getting crazy. We haven't seen one of those in the game yet, but they're pretty neat. So I'm hoping that we will see some someday.
Do those exist on narrow gauge though?
They did. They were quite the number of articulated and duplex engines on the narrow gauge. There was all sorts of fascinating prototypes. So it's going to be exciting to see what eventually ends up in the game. The benefit of narrow gauge was, being able to do tight turns in the mountains and have to blast less rock out the way. Standard gauge, you have to have something like 10 plus 12, 15 feet sometimes of clearance. And so that's a lot of rock to carve away when you're trying to build you know, a little railroad to go up to the mining town up, you know, through the canyon. And so narrow gauge, they could build these super tight turns and hug the cliff faces. And so rather than making a longer engine with more and more drive wheels, an articulated engine that can flex in the middle is actually the ideal solution for bigger narrow gauge power if you really needed to put that amount of power down. Okay, so I've made it to the sawmill log pond, and I've been doing a 0.5% grade, and I'm still a little tall almost at the sawmill. Yeah.
I mean, you can go up to like, you know, 2 or 3%.
Apparently. Well, you know, but hey, we can just have a big fill coming into the sawmill. It's fine. You can drop logs from this high.
Giant fills,
right? It's just,
okay, so
it's just.
I understand. There's some places where the fill is so big they have like car tunnels underneath it, so I get it. Like
it's a thing that happens. Yeah.
It's a thing. But like for me, it was always like if it's above 6 feet, it better be a bridge. Even though I know like they would never do that in real life because it's expensive.
Well, you know, you're just gonna get a real kick out of this whole alignment that I've built you. Then.
God.
Lowest bidder indeed.
All right. Well, I'm gonna finish up this curve and then wait for you to get back here.
Yep. And we'll be there hopefully sometime in the next century, I think.
Alrighty, Heis.
It's that moment.
Yeah, I finished the freight depot area, and I'm assuming you finished the rest going out that way. Well,
I have, yes. That runs all the way past the sawmill. Pay no attention to the alignment at the log pond, please.
Oh, perfect. I'm excited.
It's fine. And the grade, pay no attention to the couple of grade changes. It's fine. It's still fine. Don't even worry about it.
Weird.
And then this is the other end here. So like this piece that you've done, this is not main track. So this isn't special yet. But this is the last piece of the alignment.
Yes, it's the connected. Well, technically this is a loop, so you could go in either way.
Well, but by railroad timetable on whatever we decide to name this railroad, which people are gonna have to comment what they think we should name the railroad.
I was just about to say we need some suggestions in the comments on what to name this railroad. Because my previous one was the Straight Line Railco. Yours was the Eat Questionable Language and Die Railroad.
Yes, the ES&D, the good old ES&D. Yes.
Yeah. So I honestly don't know what to name this railroad, to be honest.
So yeah, but definitely would love suggestions. But this is the last piece of an alignment. This is the golden spike moment. We're doing the thing. We're connecting the main line.
I'm trying to figure out how to while you do that. Sorry, not to I'm just trying.
This is a big moment, kAN.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm missing the moment. There we go. I fixed it. All right. Let's see your big. No, it's still not fixed. Look, there's like a weird texture glitch.
Yeah, so I saw that with the embankment, like the end caps are the height if there were track, but then the rest of it isn't.
Because the switch embankment doesn't go low enough.
Because it's yeah.
You know what? We're just gonna leave it. It's just a floating switch. Don't worry about. Oh,
look at that! Look at that golden spike. Super. Oh yeah, that's
That's like the cleanest looking curve I've ever seen you lay ever.
Dude, the computer did it for me. That's the only reason why.
I'm just gonna, we're gonna pretend this switch isn't floating because the switches only go down so far. So I don't know how to. It is what it is. All right, let's go. Let's go run some trains,
dude. Let's go run some trains. Like
let's run a train here.
We're gonna do the thing.
So it takes like 24 hours to heat up the engine.
Well, not 24. There's another great video on my channel if you want to see that whole process. But cold start the steam engine to get all those automotive people, such as yourself. But yeah, for the big engine, we take like 12 hours to do it just because it's so huge. But a little porter like Betsy, I mean, even if you just let it draft away on its own and just put wood in it and not force the fire, it would probably come up to temp and start making steam in like 2 hours and would probably be ready to rock and roll after like maybe 5. So,
dude, I can't believe how do you have a kink here? How did you do that? Look at that. You know what? You fire that up. I'm gonna fix this kink. I've already got.
He's already deleted my track work.
Well, I think it's because you laid the curve as 2 separate pieces, and if you lay it as one, it'll just naturally draw.
It was giving me some weird issues, and I didn't know what it was doing, so I tried to do 2 pieces, but me and bad track go together like best friends. So
we should probably like pull Betsy out and then buy more cars, right? Like
that would probably be the smart move. We've
Buy
added
more logging
fuel.
cars.
We're heating up.
You can kind of see the curve from here. I've cleared out this
Oh,
massive
goodness.
area.
Yeah, that's a big return loop. That's awesome, dude. That's going to be great
so
for
it's a 70,
high speed.
70-meter radius, which according to your chart would give us about 25 degrees.
That's awesome. The return loops on most tourist railroads are actually tighter than that. So we're ready to run.
My old save file, believe it or not, I believe I made a tighter one than that. The problem is you can see on the far side there's like a hill that goes up, and I'm actually like hugging the very edge of that hill.
Yeah.
So
Boundary conditions.
Yeah, make a loop that would fit, and then it's completely straight on the far side there going back. So once you pass this switch, the switch lines up perfectly with the other side where it becomes a straightaway. And the reason why is so that we can put another shunt yard that's much bigger on the other side, you know, of the return loop, right? So we could have another bow yard that works to the other side of the freight depot eventually. It's like maybe like 10 lanes deep.
This actually looks like a really smart setup. This is probably...
Yeah.
I have thought a lot about yard design in this game and how to make good functional yards. And I studied and I know railroad things, and you've just gone and built a better one than I ever did. So congrats.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be okay. The only thing it's kind of weird is the fact that this bow yard bows down and then goes back out in a curve. But I mean, it's
kind of.
I kind of wanted to leave some space to this because I know when you get close to this piece, you get some weird stuff going on with deleting rails and all that because it's like the piece you're not allowed to delete. So
yeah, it's not always.
I think it'll work.
It's a little strange. The kettle's almost on. We almost have a boil soon.
I'm just gonna look into the.
You just are the stack. kAN is the stack.
Dude, Betsy's I'm so happy to be playing this game again. You have no idea.
Dude, Betsy, she's a little cutie, little Class B porter, super cute itty bitty choo choo. Yeah, Betsy's great. I'm excited.
Oh, we're gonna need firewood depot at some point in time as well.
We are. We'll have to figure out where to put that.
And we're gonna need a switch off line for the firewood depot so we can load up the other side. I forget about all these things. You're good. Yeah, keep going.
Okay.
Well, I guess you could stop there, right? We should just buy some locos.
Oh yeah, you could just buy some cars and stick them behind me there, and then.
There's one. I'm buying just regular flat cars.
Oh no,
right?
they're just they won't have names. They'll be forever unlettered. That's
well,
right.
they can't be let. We don't know the name of the railroad.
Yeah,
yet.
that's true. We don't know the name, so
can't assume.
We're the unnamed Betsy railroad company for now, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. You let me hit you up. Okay, you're good. Yeah.
All right.
Break off on this one. You can push them both together.
Dunk.
Perfect. Brakes on this back one, so it should stop you.
Shouldn't go too crazy.
We did not have enough braking
It's
power.
fine.
Okay.
It's fine. I like to send. You know.
All right. Hold on a minute. Let me hook you up. You're good.
All right. Taking him ahead.
How many cars do you think?
I mean, however many we can afford, probably. You know, maybe.
Well, we can afford a lot because I have $2,000 and you have $2,000. The problem is,
maybe we should save one of the copies of $2,000 to buy another locomotive, probably. So maybe you buy as many cars as you can, and then I'll buy us the first locomotive.
All right, you're good. You go forward, and then I'll shift you over to this one. I love how you're blowing the whistle as if like there's anybody else in the railroad that will care.
I need to let everyone know that I'm going to move. It's for safety and
on this
danger.
giant empty rail that's just for me.
Pretty much.
It's very important that you all know I'm moving.
Bow to me and my whistle.
All right.
Oh man, I had a smidge of popcorn and I thought you threw the switch under the train for a brief second.
No, I didn't. It's good. We're okay.
Oh yeah, client render distance. The that flat car is gone off my end, so
Oh yeah, right, that's still a thing, I forgot.
that is still a thing. So just let me know when I'm about to plow right through it and I'll hit the brake.
Well, you should wait, you can see your
Oh, I can see it now. Yeah.
Okay. I was just about to say you should be able to see at least the length of your own train here.
I can. It looks like I might only be able to see maybe 10 or 15 cars back, which sounds about like it used to be, so.
All right. Good. Brakes off. Brakes off. Brakes off. Off. Yep. Good.
Highball!
Good. Good. All right. I'm just going to run ahead and make sure we're switched okay.
Well, I'm gonna chase
I
after you
honestly
with
don't
me
know.
and my train.
I think you're faster than me, though.
I guess we'll find out.
I think you're catching up.
The
Alright,
chuffs
looks like
sound
you're
like they used to. It doesn't look like we're going too terribly much faster than we were able to before.
You're good on this switch anyway.
We've got one more to find out, so I guess we'll see.
Yeah. I'm just gonna slow down a bit for the next switch. I'm gonna throw this because once you're past, there's no reason for
Right,
us to
this,
need.
yeah, precisely. Reline it
This
to the
one should-
main. Good man.
Yeah, this one should always be on the main.
And the looks like the next switch is lined for us, so I'm just gonna kind of keep
Sure,
coasting.
you're not gonna pull like a steam accident like happened there at that other place.
No, we are not committing any safety accidents today if we can avoid it. This,
perfect.
this isn't the ES&D. We're not trying to do things like that.
I just realized I gotta turn down my master again because like as soon as you start chugging along with trains, it gets really loud.
Yeah, the the trains are loud. I forgot how loud they are.
Yeah. All right, we're good. Oh, what?
Oh, I jumped out to turn mine down too,
okay,
and it yeeted me out of the cab.
Here we go. Okay, hold on. All right,
You've got it. You've got it. Take over.
got it.
Oh, I'm popcorning in and out of the cars. That's fine.
Well, this isn't too bad of a fill. I'm not mad about this.
Yeah, this is not the bad part. This
You
is
got like a kink up there though that you could easily iron out just by deleting the lines between the corners. Although to be honest, in terms of heist kinks, this is like a 1. You know,
This is out of 10. This is not much.
Yeah, no,
Yep.
this is pretty mellow.
This is tame.
I don't even notice it on the cars, really.
There was a really bad one earlier that yeah, you'll have to watch my POV to get that because I deleted it because it was bad enough that I was mad about it, which means it was bad.
Okay, this is on the other hand, this could be.
Well, you know, sometimes the angle of the grid snap didn't make sense and you didn't realize it until you got through it. And then you look back and went, well, that looks like crap. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's still gonna work. All you have to do is delete the splines in the middle of the curves,
and then
go
just
curve to
straighten
curve.
them again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Should
and
be
then
really
it'll work
easy to
great.
fix. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's the nice thing. It's no more pain of like deleting 1,000 segments and then having to redo it. Now it's just like, oh yeah, I deleted the 4 and then added 1 or 2
what
back.
This game should have. If they have rocks, like random rocks, then it's like, okay, he swerved, left and right to avoid the giant rock.
Yeah, avoid the boulder field.
Yeah.
Get out your
Oh,
dynamite.
This is amazing how you've just.
That's the alignment that don't worry about it. Don't worry.
Yeah,
we
we'll
filled
we
onto the
might have
dock. The dock is now structurally a part of the railroad. It's fine. And here's the
Oh my
percent and a
God.
half.
The fill here is.
They had a lot of money for ballast.
It's a spicy fill.
They had a lot of money for ballast. Okay, it's fine.
It actually doesn't look bad. I'm not mad about it, to be honest. I'm not.
This
it's beauty.
is-
Since we're doing this as a nice, like, a complete co-op world, right? I feel like there's much less responsibility for me to make perfect-looking track.
Yes, because any track you make will look perfect compared to mine. That's how this works.
No, but even then, I feel like throughout this playthrough, I think I'll probably focus more on like the shunting areas and less on the track between the shunting areas.
Oh boy, he's
Like, I can
putting me up
focus
to
on-
the task, ladies and
And that's what I'm
gentlemen.
thinking. I think I could focus on like building up the shunting area around the sawmill and be like, all right, Heist, here's the input, here's the output, figure out how we get to those, and like what it
I
ends
like
up
this.
like is what it ends up like.
It's gonna be interesting. People will just have to live in fear of what I will create next.
Yeah, exactly. Although to be honest, we don't seem to be going too fast with Betsy. I'm assuming the top speed of a train is driven by like the length of the arm, the size of the wheel, and how fast it can actually move the piston in and out, right? Like there's going to be a theoretical max speed of every engine.
That is very true. So the age-old adage that they use on the railroad is that for every inch of driver diameter, you get about a mile an hour of speed for top speed. Oh, this turned out like crap. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
this
fine.
turn's a little aggressive.
That's a little fine. But yeah, about a mile an hour per inch of driver diameter, a little bit less on the small end and a little bit more on the big end. And so
Right.
Betsy has 24-inch drivers, so she was probably doing the 17 mile an hour that we're doing. That's probably actually her top speed.
Right. That curve looks a little spicy for bigger engines.
Yeah, that whole section there, I laid it and I didn't look back, and I should have. That's what. Oh, and this is
for Betsy it's fine, but
yeah,
for
Betsy in these
like,
cars, all this is fine, but yeah, this is not my finest work. Maybe I should try circle mode.
Oh, dumb question.
Yes.
Also, I found circle mode. It's good. It's going to be very difficult. So we're going backwards on the way back.
I guess so. Yeah, I just built the. Actually, I didn't even make the track long enough.
Yeah, you didn't. No.
I just
okay,
like.
I'll go stretch that out a little bit further.
Oh, it's okay. The brake. You left the brake on, right?
Yeah, the brake's on. Yeah, it should be.
How did you?
Interestingly enough, I think we're gonna hit this house.
You almost spotted that perfectly. Almost. So close. That was pretty good.
Not link to this piece here. This is.
Oh, okay. Well, that's just a visual glitch, right? I'm not actually being flung around. It's fine. It's fine.
No, I think you're good.
Yeah, because there was a switch running through Betsy on my end for a brief second there.
Okay, well, we're gonna have a bit of an issue here.
Ah, yes, we're hitting sunny loggers.
We're going to hit this it's okay. I'll do this. I'll have it go to here.
And I probably need to redo the upper portion of this alignment.
Yeah, we just need to spend some time redoing everything.
We just gotta de-heist it. You know, we spent this whole episode letting me build the railroad, and it turned out that was a mistake. So, you know,
no,
it's fine.
I don't think so. See, people don't realize. Well, my last playthrough of this game too, I would always build a railroad, and then I would record a video, and then I would go back and I would like spend hours fixing it for no reason, because like why not?
Well, it's the thing to do. Train handling wise, it actually works out because the biggest thing when train handling, which is the fancy word for making sure you don't break stuff when you run a train, the biggest thing is managing tension and compression. So you want to keep all of the couplings, whether they're link and pin or couplers, buff or in tension is the opposite answer. And so we can keep them all in tension with Betsy on the uphill side of the train using Betsy's brake. And that way,
we had to use the last car's brake if we were doing it the other way.
Yeah, in compression or in buff. Yeah, exactly.
But modern train couplers, they absorb compression and tension. They don't care.
Yeah, I mean, you could do both even with link and pin. You can do both, and that's okay. It's just, you need to kind of pick one or the other, and then try not to go between them, and try not to go between them too hard, because that's when you broke things with link and pin, and that's also when you broke things with the real railroad these days too. So
they would always prefer on downhills to be under tension, right? Because you get more control that way.
Tension is, well, back in the day, tension was better because you could set up the brakes on the train with your automatic brake, and all the cars would automatically brake. And
a million times stronger.
Compression is stronger, and these days they actually do compression brake on modern railroads because they use the dynamic brakes on the diesel more often than they use air brakes these days.
Yeah, that's crazy. Because I remember, like, when I was in engineering and learning about all that stuff, and I mean, I'm sure you did too. We did a lot of mods was the course, mechanics of deformable solids. So that was,
boy.
yeah, that was an exciting course, and we had to take 2 of them. And basically, the course is really simple. Every material in the universe has an elastic and a plastic zone. Because people don't realize, like, it's like if you take a paper clip, for example. And if you take a paper clip and you ever so slightly bend it, it will restore to its original shape on its own. Like, I'm talking like barely any bend. And the math is 0.02% of yield stress is equal to the maximum force you can put on something and have it stay in its elastic zone for a metal. But it was always interesting, and where this is all going as we're just teaching children about university stuff.
Just casually.
Right, well, where it was interesting is if you think about it, a piece of metal the width of a nickel can hold up an entire car as long as it's under compression. And it's the amount of compressive force it takes to bend something is insane, but only if it's a perfect 100% 90-degree vertical compression. As soon as you have any sort of lateral force on it, it becomes a whole... It's like if you take a pop can, you can stand on a pop can, but if you tap the side, it completely collapses.
Exactly. That's a great way to put that.
Right? And with trains, you would think it's the same thing, because as long as you have something under compression, it's incredibly strong. But then when you put something under tension, it wants to pull apart very easily.
Yeah, thankfully the tension that we experience with couplers and links and pins almost always, it's designed so that it is just what we call an axial load. It's only
Yeah.
pure tension or only pure compression. So there's no bending unless something has gone entirely wrong.
Right.
So that's what really helps
the amount
you.
of force on the size of that member would have to be so large that the material always stays within the elastic zone when it's under tension. So it always, if it's under tension, it'll pull apart by like a millimeter or a fraction of a millimeter or whatever, and you could measure it, but you won't really see it visually. But then as soon as you remove the load from it, that link will actually like shrink back to its original size.
Exactly.
And we're talking fractions of a fraction of an inch because metals are so strong, but truly everything will slightly pull apart and everything will come back together, which is just so fascinating.
Yeah. But this is your quick intro to mechanics of materials with Heiss and kAN. Welcome.
Yeah. Well, we're both mechanical engineers, so I mean, we have to, drop some of the wonderful knowledge.
We gotta drop the jargon and the lingo here and there. Yeah. Ooh,
Yeah.
Young's modulus. Ooh, the amount of
So
stuff.
train wheels, right? They're a straight axle, goes across the wheels, and then the axle's held.
Yep.
So they don't care about the inside wheel moving faster than the outside wheel. They just let it slip.
No, they do. And there's a neat thing, and I just actually did 2 videos on this subject on the channel that you might want to check out.
Video for everything.
I do. It's almost like trains are important to me, and that's the whole point of my channel. So the wheel sets on the train, the 2 wheels, they're tapered. It's about a 15-degree taper. And so what happens is as you go around a curve, the wheel rides so that if you had a single wheel set, the wheel rides to the outside so that the outside wheel, which is traveling a longer distance, gets the larger radius to actually engage with the rail. And then the inside wheel gets the smaller radius on the wheel to engage because it's tapered.
But wouldn't that mean that you would technically, like, your train would lean slightly inside or slightly outside?
Correct.
With that?
Yep, that's what it does. And sometimes they actually...
it's not that much to notice, or is it a couple inches, or would you even...
You can notice it depending on, and actually sometimes... I assume we're loaded and I can go back, right?
Yeah, we're loaded. You can. I didn't hear any whistle. I was just about to say.
There you go.
Hear the whistles. You gotta let people know you're going backwards.
Right. Gotta let the whole forest know that we're on the way down the mountain with this.
Track.
So yeah, no, actually some tracks are actually purposefully elevated to help accentuate that and help keep forces to a minimum laterally around the curve. So they're actually super elevated to help even further, like it's banked like a racetrack.
Right.
Not much, a couple inches at most, but yeah. And the latest video that I actually put out this morning as we record this was filming every single wheel on our big steam engine, the 491. And so I put a camera down right above the railhead where it was about to be crushed by every wheel to watch each wheel as it goes around the railroad. And you can watch as the wheels pivot and do the dance that they do as they come in and out of curves. And it was some of the most fascinating footage I've ever captured. That's my favorite thing about what I get to do these days working for the museum and being on YouTube, is that I get to study these locomotives like no one ever has ever in history before.
With all the modern cameras.
Because
this corner, by the way,
it
feels spicier with the logs.
Like the logs and the loads. So okay, we'll take it easy.
It's a little spicy. We might have to smooth this out at some point.
I think that's probably worthy. Yeah.
I like the path you took though up the edge of the mountain. I think that's sick. Like,
I was trying to keep it like pretty and authentic feeling. But yeah,
it's a cool path, but it's a spicy corner for sure.
Authentically garbage, I think, is the right word that we're looking for here. So, could be a lot smoother if I had spent more time on it and attempted to like use the circle mode and figure that out a little better. Definitely could have made it pretty and also functional. But as anyone who's ever watched me play this game, they should not be surprised by this alignment that I've come up with. So,
Well, I think all we need to do really is like smooth out some of these corners and then redraw the straights between them.
Yeah, I think, and that shouldn't be hard because now we've got like nodes placed. We have the different track pieces and now it's going to be really easy to kind of like section by section send out the maintenance away MOW crew and get things fixed.
Yeah. Just a normal, inter-episode.
Precisely. Look, and magically the track's amazing.
Ice and I hang out for an hour and fix track, and nobody knows it happened.
Pretty much.
That's usually how it goes. This is actually pretty good, though. It's really smooth. I love the fact that the groundwork places at the same time as rail. It just saves you so much time and effort.
You used to take 3 passes at least to make your alignment. 4 if you scouted, right? You'd scout, you'd cut down the trees, you'd lay the groundwork, you'd lay the track, and then inevitably, if you were me, you'd have to lay the track again, you know?
Yeah.
Or
it was always like I would lay groundwork, and then I would, as like a scout pass, I would use the groundwork as a scout pass to make sure like the inclines aren't ridiculous, and then delete all the trees that were in the way of the groundwork, delete all the groundwork, replace all the groundwork, replace all the track, and then it's like, oh my god, you know?
Yeah, just so much work. But now it's like you cut down the trees, and if you know the path, you know, you cut down the trees in the path that you want to take, and then you place the track, and the track and the groundwork go together. And, you know, maybe with the embankment tool, maybe we'll have to, like, try that and see how it works in the mountain, maybe, and maybe there'll be another pass, maybe, but it does save a ton of time.
Oh, they have a lot more bridges, too, I forgot.
Yeah.
All the...
Are we delivering
this
to the log pond or to the freight depot?
No, all the way to the freight depot.
Freight depot. Right? We're going all the
way.
way.
You want to sell this for cash so that next episode you can afford an engine or something.
That's right. Well, yeah, that would be that. Yeah, that's probably a smart idea.
Obviously, what are the?
At least you used to get cash at the log pond too, though. But I think for the first delivery, I think the freight depot is appropriate for sure.
So there's a class 48, which is $3,500.
It's
the
060,
Porter 2, which is $3,200. Yeah, the 060. Yeah. There's a Montezuma, which is $2,500, so you could definitely afford that.
Oh yeah, Montezuma, the speedy boy. I hope Montezuma's fast.
There's a Glenbrook. It's another new engine.
That's a 260.
Yep. Climax old, Heisler's old. Ooh, they redid the Heisler though. It looks sick.
Yeah, and then there should be a T-boiler Shay as well, I think.
There's a Shay, yeah, T-boiler Shay. The Cook Logo DRG, and that's it. Wow, that's so cool.
And remember the DNRG Class 70 is the old version of one of the engines I have at my museum.
Yeah.
Denver and Rio Grande Western number 346, which is actually getting a huge overhaul right now.
So what we're gonna do at the freight depot at some point in time at the freight depot, I'm gonna set up a drag strip, 2 parallel lines that run perfectly next to each other, so we can drag race trains and actually do straight comparisons between train engines. I feel like now that there's no max speed, I feel like that would be a cool thing to check out.
I'm really hoping that's the case. The Porter is definitely the same speed it was, but the Porter was already at like its real speed, so you know, yeah.
Yeah, we're doing actually pretty good, and this is all just downhill, so it's got no weight restriction really.
Yeah, exactly. Downhill or flat. There was a couple surprise sections of downhill because I didn't realize how high off the ground I was.
Slow down for a second. I'm gonna flick this switch.
Brakes!
Oh god, I'm not outrunning you.
I'm trying. I am now moonwalking.
Did I get it? I got it. Holy cow. I barely got it.
Precision railroading right there.
That was close.
Well done.
I think the switch might have gone through a wheel. I'm just saying.
It's fine. It's fine. We're on the rails. Nobody died. It's fine.
I just want to try the loop, you know, because we haven't.
We gotta see this loop. Yeah. We gotta appreciate real track work. For everyone who's watching my POV hasn't seen good track yet, so.
This is like perfectly straight too. This is perfectly flat, perfectly. Well, my plan is on this whole straight section here, I want to just put a massive shunt yard. Just could be in both directions, even like left and right.
That would be awesome. Although we run into
a little bit of a hill on the right side here.
I'm getting a little first-person action going on. I want to feel it. I want to see the straightness from the cab.
Yeah. No, I want to build this out as a huge shunt yard here on this side, and then of course we're gonna need lines for like the fuel. We're gonna need fuel.
Yep.
And I feel like with this playthrough, because there's 2 of us, we could actually have, if we have enough of a shunting area at the log camp, we could park trains at the log camp that do nothing but run logs to the sawmill and never have to come back to the freight depot. You know?
I think that's the move. Yeah, store the log bunks there, and then just shuttle those.
Yeah. We'll need more, too, because I think these are also for oil barrels or something.
Yes, yeah. Pipes, I think, go on these.
Yeah. But either way, I feel like we should have trains stored more locally. Like, we could have trains at the smelter that never go anywhere but the iron ore mine and coal mine, you know, and stuff like that.
Real precision and like, you know, unit trains of commodities and real efficient stuff because we're engineers and that's what we do. We solve problems practically.
All right, we need to swap.
You need to swap.
You need to unload.
Yeah. Right. Well, you're in my company though, right?
Yeah, but is that gonna work if I unload, or is it gonna give you the money, or is it?
I read something on the patch notes, the last patch, that they finally fixed the being in locomotive money glitch. So let's try one car and see what happens.
All right, it says employer heist. I only have $200. I'm level 3 though.
I have 2,000. I'm
Okay.
in the engine, and I've got the brake on so that we are slowing down to the platform. Just unload the one, and I guess we'll see what it does.
Yeah, all right, here we go, unloading. My money is not going up,
Okay.
or my experience.
Okay, and now I pop out, and I press P. I have $2,060. That worked.
Okay, there we go. So let's unload all these.
Yeah. That's awesome. That was a bug that was really annoying for the longest time.
And you got
couldn't...
more XP then. You're getting XP from these too.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's how that works. I've run the engine out of fuel. I should probably reload it at some point.
It doesn't matter. We're good. We're good. You don't need to fuel it up.
That's fine.
We're good. That's all we need.
Just unload the car, Ice!
Unload the. Okay, how much do you have? How much money do you got? You got close, right?
I got it. So we had 7 cars, right? So it's got to be, dude, 2420. We need 80 bucks.
240, 20. Yeah, I figured we were gonna be a little short. Uh-oh. How much do we need for? Wait, hold on.
We
What
need
do
2,500 for the Montezuma, right?
I don't. Oh my God! You can paint the car colors. What?
What?
There's 7 different car colors for the flat cars.
Oh my goodness! Really?
Yeah, I just left them at the default. There's like a beige. There's. Oh my God, that's.
Oh, that's
cool.
awesome. I didn't know that got added. That's all. You can have a lot of these are like actual historical colors from different
You can
railroads.
have cars for different colors depending on what we're hauling. That's so great.
That's I love that.
Oh, the hopper only has 1 paint color. The tanker, okay, the tanker has multiple ones.
Oh, and the
Boxcar.
boxcar's even got like a cute red version with white trim.
Yeah, we gotta run the red and the white trim. Like, let's be real. I mean,
And we've
The
got the
caboose.
yellow Rio Grande caboose, the red Rio Grande
has
caboose.
multiple colors too. Let's go.
Dude, the caboose has 10 different paint schemes. That's
Okay, I'm
awesome.
not gonna lie, my favorite on the caboose is kind of the brown with the white railings.
The brown with the white railings is a vibe. I could dig that.
It looks so good. It really looks good. Number 7. All right, let's yeah. Let's
Like the way car with the yellow steps. Yes, it's safe.
The Montezuma's $2,500.
I need $80, and then we can have
$80.
Montezuma.
Okay, well, you know what? Let's oh, you can paint engines now too. You can do a black Montezuma or like the red and gold. Ooh.
Those are 2 different Baldwin styles, I believe, actually, from the manufacturer that are actually historically accurate.
Ooh, I love that. The black and gold. Oh,
That
man,
is
so good.
that is pretty with a Russian iron jacket, the slightly silverish blue boiler jacket. That's really pretty.
Oh, this looks nice. Well, anyway, we gotta fix some track regardless. So, you know,
Yep, gotta
think
fix
we'll
some
be able to
track. We gotta
fix the track and
we can
get
run
more
we can
money.
run one more train in the off season, and then we'll come back
Yeah.
with the speedy boy, the Zuma.
yeah, we'll come back in the next episode and get the Montezuma and deliver, well, more logs. I guess that's all we're really.
That is the name of the game for the next while.
Yeah, next while is just gonna be delivering logs. But yeah, let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you want to see more Railroads Online, of course, you know, let us know in the comments down below. Check out Heiss's channel, link in the description. And this is going to be a co-op only playthrough. So if I do anything in the off season, it will just be fixing track. I won't actually make any progress unless I'm playing with good old Mr. Heiss here. So I think it'll be super exciting. Make sure, of course, you check out Heiss's channel, and we'll see you all next time.
Thanks so much for watching, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.